So I didn't understand why people chose aluminum profile rigs over tubular rigs until now. And after spending some time with the 6Sigma 6S-120 V2, I finally get it. So this rig is absolutely solid, endlessly adjustable, and honestly, I may never have to upgrade this again. And I'll be honest, I like the look of tubular rigs over the aluminum rigs. I've said this many times in my videos before. They just look cleaner to me and like less industrial. But after trying this proper 120 rig, it really changed my mind on what a proper dream rig needs to be. Once you start racing in this, it really becomes clear why people choose this. Just rigidity, adjustability, and future-proofing. This thing just feels planted no matter what you throw at it. Now there's still a few reasons why this rig wouldn't be for everyone, but we'll go over those in a bit. So first things first, 6Sigma has sent this rig, the mat, the monitor stand, and the caster wheels to me for review. Of course, all my opinions are my own. They've also provided me with a 5% discount code for you to use. If you're interested, it's in the description below. So again, thank you 6Sigma for sending all this out. So honestly, the first impressions were very good. It was very well packaged, came in a couple boxes with no damage whatsoever. And shipping was surprisingly quick. I think it's due to them being a Canadian company. I'm also in Canada, so it makes sense. And when unboxing, it becomes very clear very quickly that this equipment is actually really high quality. Now the build process for me was a little bit overwhelming because I've never built a aluminum profile rig before. Thankfully, there was a manual that was pretty decent to follow. So, I mean, honestly, building it itself, when you look at it, isn't actually too hard. It's mostly adjustments that take time. And one thing that surprised me as well as an initial impression is once it's built, it's actually pretty small and narrow and of course light because it's aluminum. So let's talk about the design and the adjustability. So I found that this is really the perfectionist dream. There's just all these adjustments you can make and really make it fit yourself, which is a trait of the aluminum profile rigs. So one thing that really bothered me about tubular rigs is that nothing really lined up 100%. There was always something that was a little bit off and you just had to kind of live with it. It wasn't 100% straight. Well, with this, you know, you can make it exactly to the millimeter where you like it. So that is refreshing. So as you can see, this is a GT only rig. So you sit in the upright position. There's no F1 style position here. Of course, if you don't need Formula style seating, then a GT rig like this is perfect. It doesn't have any other adjustments that you have to make for Formula style seating positions. So that keeps everything really simple and keeps everything really planted with minimal movement or no movement. And this is actually the first rig I've ever used where I felt my driving position was actually super natural. Just right now, how I'm sitting just feels very comfortable for very long stints or just general driving. There's just no issues whatsoever. I just sit in it like I'm sitting in a sofa, basically. So pretty obvious, but they use black on these beams, black anodized finish on it. It's very soft, as you can hear. It's very soft. Now, the only thing I would say about the black is it does leave smudges very easily if your hands are a little bit, you know, clammy or you got some grease on your fingers. So keep a rag nearby. You know, damp cloth, give it a wipe, dry it off, and they're as good as new. One thing I will say as well about that, the finish is good, but when you move stuff around, it's metal on metal basically, so you will scratch it, so you gotta watch out. If you do scratch it a little bit, is use a black marker and just kind of touch it up, and that seems to work pretty well. So if you're not familiar with profile rigs, you use the T-nuts to mount and adjust most things, which is what gives you the unlimited adjustability. Another general downside of aluminum profile rigs I found is cable management or the lack of it. So as you can see over here, there is some cable management tools that you get with the rig. They're just those little plastic clips basically that slide into the channels that you twist in. I do prefer my cables looking pretty neat, so I tried my best here to kind of make it look nice and, you know, make them go down, but you can only do as much as you can do, of course. Tubular rigs, you can usually route them in the inside of the tubes. That's I guess one downside is you're always gonna see some cables. Now another big thing that makes this rig really pop is the seat. I absolutely love this seat and I feel like it deserves its own video, so I'm gonna make another video. It's my #1 seat for sure. And if you're wondering what the seat's called, it's the 6Sigma GTR Diamond Stitch seat in large. So check it out on my channel in a bit. So let's talk about rigidity and performance. And first of all, we got the pedal tray right here. And honestly, I was a little bit concerned about the pedal tray because this is the same pedal tray that they give on their 6S-80, which is a smaller rig. And I was like, ooh, if we're gonna get the same pedal tray as a smaller rig, there might be some flex, but I can confirm that this is the strongest pedal plate I've ever used on any rig. So there was actually no more concerns after I used it for a couple of times. You can see these little fins, or shark fins I'd call them, on the side to adjust the angle. And of course the front part of it here actually sits on the inside slots with T-nuts. Of course it wiggles now because it's on these little caster wheels, but that's the whole rig moving, not the pedal tray. And in this video, you can see too that there's absolutely no movement that you can feel or even see, to be honest. Usually you can always see something on the camera, but that's not the case here. I even pushed way harder than my normal brake pressure just to kind of see how much it would buckle, and there isn't any. So it gives me the confidence that I can actually increase my brake pressure if I wanted to, which I don't. But if I wanted to increase it, or if somebody's using like very stiff pedals, then this would work very, very well. There's also a little bit of adjustments that you can make here to slide it back and forth. You can see the little sliding in here, and up and down. Of course, you can really like incline and decline them if you like. Right now I have it set to pretty low because I don't like them too high for a GT position. All right, so the wheel deck, or the wheel plate, made of aluminum, super stable. And there's actually 6 ways that you can mount your wheelbase to this. And because this model is the CNC deck, it's super adjustable and easy to install because it's a one piece really that you slide in through the slots with T-nuts again, and then you can just adjust accordingly. There's just not much to it, to be honest. But once you have it all set up, you tighten it down, you know, you're just ready to go. Just one thing about this that I wasn't the biggest fan of was the very big logos. I get it, you want to put your logos on the product. They're just a little big in my opinion. So seat mounting. They mentioned that the seat mounting on this is heavy duty, and yeah, they're not kidding. I think the only flex I can see when I'm braking real hard is the actual seat itself moving a tiny bit, although this is also super stable. Again, this is the strongest seat that I've ever sat in, I think. So I think there's no concerns for anybody for the strength of the seat and the brackets and everything else underneath. Even the sliders on this here, which I'll mention again in the seat review itself, the sliders work really well. Other rigs I've had before, sliders, they work, but they're a little stuck and all that, but here they just worked right out of the box. One thing I will note is getting in and out of the seat, because of the straight towers that you see right here, it's a little bit harder because your foot, there's not a lot of clearance here, so you have to be a little careful when you sit down, but really it's not hard to get in and out of it all. So let's quickly talk about the monitor stand. So if you want to mount a monitor to this rig or with the rig, there's really 2 options. You have the freestanding monitor stand, which is this here, or the integrated monitor stand that you actually attach to the rig. Now the pros of the external one, so this one here, the freestanding monitor stand, is that there's no vibrations or movement. So if the rig moves, like you can see here, this will stay solid. That's really the biggest benefit of it. And of course you can, there's always some more adjustments I find when you do a freestanding one, just because you can move it independently and really fine tune where you have the monitor. With the integrated, there's also a lot of movement still that you can do, but you're kind of limited to, you know, how it's built. I'm actually very impressed with the quality of the freestanding monitor stand. I didn't think it was going to be this big, but it's 80 series aluminum that they use, so it's actually quite wide everywhere. Even the feet are the same size. I know sometimes when you get them, they're pretty thin, but this is like heavy duty. And the nice thing, even if you get the single monitor stand like this, you can actually in the future still upgrade for the arms if you want to do triple screens instead of the single monitor. Now there's one downside that I didn't really consider before, is that the freestanding one is very big, you know, very wide. Therefore, I had to actually turn my rig around because my room is very small. So if I had it facing, or at least parallel with the wall, I mean, then this would stick out so far that I would bump into it pretty much immediately and hit my head and whatnot. So I have to now face the wall and kind of have my sim rig in the middle of the room. So if you have a smaller room, I would recommend getting the integrated one just because it's a little bit more compact. So let's get down to the meat and potatoes, the value of this rig. So 6Sigma really prides themselves for selling high-end sim rigs for an aggressive price. And honestly, there's no denying it, the parts are high quality. It's also nice that things like the shifter mounts and the mouse pad and all that comes with the rig itself, and also the pedal tray. Some rigs don't come with that, so that is value. However, I didn't mount it on this rig particularly because I don't have a shifter or a mouse or anything like that I use, so I wanted to leave it off and keep it as bare bones as possible. for me to really dive into the rig itself, but it does come with it, so that is a bonus. So the base rig itself without the seat is $799 USD or $949 Canadian. And I did some research in 120 rigs across the internet, and I can say this falls somewhat in the middle price category. I found not the cheapest, but definitely not the most expensive. Now there's definitely cheaper options out there still. However, I think it really comes down at this point to brand loyalty, preference, availability, customer service, and shipping. All those things really matter. One of the biggest values here too is they offer fast and free shipping. Now I know some companies don't offer free shipping, and for me in Canada anyways, it can go up to a couple $100 sometimes for shipping. It just makes the process less frustrating and just a lot easier. So the verdict. So if you're looking for a ultra stable, high quality, no fuss sim rig that can handle basically anything you can throw at it, then look no further. I honestly can't see myself upgrading this for anything else because I don't have anything that I can even throw at this that could even get to the limits of it. And I also like the idea that I can just add motion to this in the future because it will accept motion, which is definitely a bonus. So the nice thing too about 6Sigma is of course they sell their own equipment and they have a healthy amount of parts and all that stuff. But they also sell different brands like Sparco, I see Fanatec, Moza, you name it. There's a healthy amount of all that on their website. They also do turnkey sim rigs or bundle. So if you're looking online and you don't have any equipment yet, you can just buy a whole bundle, which basically has everything you need. So they sell all that too. So I finally understand why people spend money on an aluminum profile sim rig. And honestly, I don't think I can ever go back. Thank you so much for watching. My affiliate links are in the description below. Again, that 5% discount code is in there as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day and tot de volgende keer.